Alrighty guys, today I'm just gonna do a quick hone on the cylinders. If you go back to my last part of the video, pretty much all the comments were just people saying that I should hone the cylinders out. So they got a point there. I'm just gonna quickly knock the glaze off and it should be good to go. That's all I'm gonna do tonight, but this video will probably consist of installing the crank and maybe some other things too. Here's a bumper I'm working on for the truck. That's a whole nother story. Whoa. Alright. Radio has something wrong with the CD player, so sometimes it wants to work and sometimes it doesn't. And when it works, it just all of a sudden comes on. Anyway, yeah, this is a bumper I'm working on. It definitely doesn't look good now, but it's gonna look great when it's all done. I gotta fill in all these holes, plug them all up, and grind down the front side real nice. And it's all made out of 1/4 inch steel. These are the mounts right here that are gonna mount to the frame. Slip right in like that. Bolt to it, and there's going to be a bottom edge too, but still a lot of work to do here. We got a serious deer problem in this area, so I'm building something that'll withstand an impact from a deer, and I'm also going to make it look nice. A couple years ago I built a bumper, but it looked like garbage, and yeah, it really wasn't good at all. This one's gonna be really nice when it's done. I'm gonna paint it white. I'm gonna have a grill guard too. It's gonna look really nice. Protect the front end of the truck because there's been a lot of deer and they just run out, and yeah, gotta do something about that. And I think this will be the trick. Yeah, I can already see that makes a big difference. Alright, I got them all honed out. I just went through quick. Didn't go too far. Just to get that glaze off. Looks really good. Gotta admit, I'm glad I did that. Give me some peace of mind. And help the rings to seat better. Alright guys, beautiful day today. Sunday. Let's see, what did I show last? Oh yeah, the honing the cylinders. That's all done. So I got all my parts, or most of my parts anyway. I gotta get oil pan gasket, valve cover gasket, and I gotta measure for my push rods when I get the engine all back together. But besides those things, everything's here to put the engine back together. So I'm gonna put the crank in today, at least. Really like to get going on putting the pistons in too. Oh yeah, and I covered the engine with an old bed sheet, which was suggested by the frame off. He said that the plastic bag could trap moisture in there, and that definitely makes sense. So I thought that was a good idea. Alright, so I just got done wiping down the mains here and got them good and clean. Wiped them down until there was no dirt or anything coming off on the rag. I got my bearings over here, the center ones, all the other ones. It's pretty obvious where they all go because the ones that go in the block or toward the block have the hole for the oil, and the other ones are just like that. And then the center ones look like this. And these are from King, which I heard are pretty good. They're just stock OEM size. So now I'm going to slip those in there and we'll go from there. Alright, I got the new bearings slipped in there. It's pretty straightforward. All of them have that little tab on them, so it'd be pretty difficult to mess it up, really. Can be done, but be take a little bit of work to mess it up. Alright, so I set my crank in there, and I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna clean the top area here, make sure there's no oil on there, so I can set my piece of plastic gauge on there. Clean it up good. When I took the engine apart, I already cleaned up my caps here, so I don't have to worry about cleaning those up, which is nice. I just gotta wipe them down, that's all. But I got all the sludge and anything like that off, so they're all ready to go. And no, I'm not replacing the rod bolts or the main bolts. Reason for that is on the LS engine, the rod and mains are not torque to yield, so they don't stretch, not like the head bolts. So you can reuse those as long as you're not going to be making like 500 plus horsepower. This thing's only going to be seeing like 320, so I'm not even near needing those. So that's that. I'm gonna get some hate for that, but you know what? Many people do this, reuse these bolts and don't have an issue, and some people even reuse the head bolts. I'm not gonna do that. I got brand new Felpros over here. Give you guys peace of mind. There they are, Felpro bolts. I was gonna go ARP, no reason for it though, because I don't plan on taking the heads off or doing a head swap anytime soon, and if I need to take the heads off for some reason, I'll just buy new bolts. The stock OEM replacement bolts, heck of a lot cheaper than the ARPs, and the only upside to the ARPs is you can reuse them. So there's that. Alrighty, there's the plastic gauge. I got it set out on, it's hard to see, but got it set on there all the way down. I gotta pop my bearings in the caps and stick it on there. I got this speed wrench, so I can spin those on pretty fast. And then I believe I also got my little angle gauge here. I gotta look up the specs. I think the inner ones are like 15 pounds and like 80 degrees, and the outside ones are like, I don't know. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna write it down, have the paper right here, and get it all right, and pop everything back off. See what we got. Alright guys, I got my angle gauge there on the breaker bar and the torque wrench there, and I got everything just about torqued down. Show you this here, that's the torque sequence. The little circle represents the bolt there. But yeah, that's the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the idea. And then the inner bolts, 15 foot-pounds, and then 80 degrees, and the outside bolts, 15 foot-pounds and 50 degrees. Alright guys, I just pulled the caps back out. All of the clearances, I'm happy to say, are spot on, mint. Every single one of them are exactly the same. I'll show you one for an example. See if I can get a close-up shot. Hold on. Kind of hard to see. This camera isn't the greatest, but try to show you. It's exactly 0.002. So we are perfectly within tolerances. which is awesome. So all of them are exactly the same. Really happy about that. This part had me a little bit nervous, but everything checks out good. So now I can put it all back together. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm definitely going to clean that plastic gauge off and put some of this assembly lube on there. Just wanted to point that out. Alright guys, I got the crank back in and all torqued down. Went through and double checked. And I got my dial indicator on the end here, checking the end play. And it's perfect. Right at 3. So we're good. Now I can start slipping the pistons in. I'm going to start with number 1, I think, and just work my way down. And I'm also going to plastic gauge all of those just to make sure they're all right. So now that everything checks out good, my end play is good, I can go ahead and tighten down these side bolts, which go to 18 foot-pounds, and then the crankshaft will be installed. Alright guys, crank is all installed. That's a big step in the right direction. So now, if I can find my ring compressor, which I know I had one somewhere in this mess. If I find that, then I can start slipping my pistons in there, and I'm going to do one at a time. And I already mentioned this, one at a time, plastic gauge each one, and be good to go. Well guys, the last video clip you saw, I had the crank installed, but I actually lost some footage, and then I just didn't feel like filming. So here we are again. Thought I'd update you guys before I put the video together. I got all the pistons back in, and they're all, I plastic gauged all of the rod bearings, and they're perfect all the way down through. Everything checked out perfectly. And then I went ahead and installed the timing, the new timing gears and chain. Installed that, and the oil pump, the new oil pump, and the pickup tube. Took me a while to figure out which O-ring to use, but ended up being the green one. The new oil pump came with 2 different ones, and for the different style pickups. But this pickup tube had a recess in it, and I did a ton of research to make sure I put the right one in there, and all my research pointed to the green one. So I got that one in. It had a nice firm feel when I pushed it in to the groove there, and I'm pretty positive it's the correct one. So, yep, my windage tray is on, all that stuff. Cleaned out this whole pickup tube, cleaned my screen out really well. So now I got to put my front cover on, rear cover on, oil pan on, and it's coming together pretty good. The only hard part left to do is the heads, which is not really that hard, but it's critical. Get all the torque on all the bolts right and everything. And I got my new head gaskets over here from Brian Tooley. They're actually just OEM replacements. But and then I got my valley cover gasket here. And when I get the heads on, I got to measure my push rod lengths. Actually got a nifty little tool over here for that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be stock push rod length because it's just a stage 1 cam, but I wanted to double check when I get it all together. And here's what the tool is. It's basically just a push rod, but it's got a little part on here that unscrews, so you can put it in there and adjust it and set it at a certain point, and then you can measure it just to double check. It's pretty cool. It's from Comp Cams 7702. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll try to get some more videos on this before I put it all back together. So far so good. I still got to put my lifters in too. I got to let those soak for a while, and we'll be dropping this thing in pretty soon. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the